If I had a crowd inside this house, turn the music way up loud, I'd still be alone, wouldn't change a thing. You're across the wall, miles gone, I intoxicate just to feel the numb. Thought you were my everything. The more I let you go, the more it hurts. But with you around, lonely is my world. So tonight I'm drinking with lonely, just me and red wine. Miss having somebody with love in his eyes. Drown myself in a bottle, dying innocent, slowly, deep down inside. I can't escape the darkness. Drinking with lonely. Oh, wish that you would let me go. Can't break loose from the chains I hold. I hate you, but I need you more. You play these games that I don't play. You need to take my heart and run away. 'Cause with you around, lonely is my world. I'm drinking with lonely, just me and red wine. Miss having somebody with love in his eyes. Drown myself in a bottle, dying innocent, slowly, deep down inside. I can't escape the darkness. Drinking with lonely. Oh, the more I let you go, the more it hurts. But with you around, lonely is my world. So tonight I'm drinking with lonely, just me and red wine. Miss having somebody with love in his eyes. Drown myself in a bottle, dying innocent, slowly, deep down inside. I can't escape the darkness. Drinking with lonely. Oh, drinking with lonely. Oh, drinking with lonely.
Delighted to have with me Audra McLaughlin. Her first time in the UK.
Yeah.
How are you finding it?
Oh, I love it. It's so exciting so far. I was telling Donna, my manager, that I've been taking pictures of like everything, like and taking videos of like pigeons and oh, this is cool. You know, I'm just excited about everything. I'm taking it all in, and I've been seeing so many things. I've never been here, so it's my first time.
How different is it to Nashville?
Oh man, it's just gorgeous. You know, I've never seen like castles and that sort of thing before, in person, I guess. So, well, besides like Disney World.
Yeah, and Disney's fake.
Yeah, and it's fake. Exactly, it's fake. And this is like, but the culture here is so different, and there's so much history. And I've always been like such a big history buff throughout my life. So, and I love Nashville, of course, but you know, to experience this and it's just it's beautiful. So I love it.
It's one of the joys of the UK is that we have so much history.
Yes.
And we're not talking about the last 50 years. We're looking about the last 500 years.
Yes.
You know, so it's very, very different.
I know, and it's beautiful. I was staying with my manager Donna and Pete for a few days, and she took me to Norwich and to see like the sites and just places that have been there for hundreds and thousands of years, you know. And so it was just so cool to see like things that were in movies that I've watched growing up and that kind of thing. And we got to see the Harry Potter, you know, the cathedral, and oh, that was just breathtaking.
What made you go for The Voice?
Oh man. So growing up, I even back when like Star Search, like was on television, I always watched the singing shows. Like I was just always fascinated by music, because I just loved singing, and I grew up watching like Star Search, and then when American Idol came out, and all of these TV shows, and I just was like, man, it'd be so cool to be on one of those stages one day. And so I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I tried out for season 1 of The Voice. So my uncle Georgie, who loves to sing, and he's been a singer his whole life. He even does like an Elvis impersonator. It's really cool. He told me about the auditions, or he mentioned the show in the first place, season 1. And so that's how I knew about the show. And then of course I started watching it. And so season 6, when I went to try out, I was working with a vocal coach of mine, in my local area, and she owned a music school, and so we were working together for a few months, and she said, the Voice auditions are coming up in Philadelphia. Would that be something that you'd be like interested in doing? I said, yeah, of course. Who wouldn't want to try? But it's one of those things you're like, oh, I'll never get on that, because it's like kind of like winning the lottery. So you just say, okay, I'll just go for it. And so they kind of had they knew somebody, like a talent director, that they could send my videos to for an audition. And so it was really cool. It was like 2 weeks, I think. They got back to us and they said that they wanted me to come to New York to do an in-person audition. And I was so excited, and I was like, I can't believe this happened, because I had never made it to. I had tried out for like American Idol, I tried out for X Factor, I tried out for America's Got Talent, Star Search when I was 9. So like I've really cut my teeth and stuff through the years, really working up to that moment. And I think that was finally when I knew that I kind of had more of an identity as an artist. And so I think I felt more ready. And so, I think I picked the right songs and that kind of thing. But yeah, it was my vocal coach at the time that, helped me prepare for that. And I don't know, I kept making it to the next round and the next round. And then the blind auditions came, and I'm just like, I can't believe I'm standing here right now. So it was just so surreal, and I'm just so thankful that I had the opportunity to.
And you got 4 turns.
Yeah.
and a fight over whose team you were going to be.
It's funny because so people, when they meet me, when they're, I'll get people that'll be like, oh, you should be on one of those TV shows, and I kind of like pause for a second. I'm like, I don't know whether I should tell them that I've been on one or just let them figure it out, because again, I'm like super modest. And so I'm like, well, I was on a TV show, and a little TV show called The Voice. They're like, The Voice. And then when people ask me like, oh, so like who turned for you, it's such an awkward question for me to like answer, because I feel so like, again, like weird saying like 4 chairs, but it was just super super cool. So. And
you ended up on Blake's team?
Yeah, yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
Good experience?
Oh yeah, Blake's wonderful. He just has such like that southern like hospitality, and he's just such a nice person. So
now, one song I didn't get what the meaning really is Boomerang. So what's that about?
Was that because of the music video?
Yes.
I know. It's so funny. I've had that question asked quite a bit. So that was my director's sort of like decision around how that music video kind of came apart. But I mean, the song really is about like this girl that just keeps going back and forth to this bad guy that like she knows isn't good for her, but like something draws her to him. And so, and she keeps making this decision to go back to this like guy. And so it's like all these like bad things that in the video that they're pinpointing, like, okay, well, he's robbing a bank, and then he's in jail, and then like he comes out and this girl is like still kind of chasing after him, and it's just that whole idea of just like when you're like kind of into that bad boy kind of guy.
Tell me once, you burn me twice. You say it's love, but it's a lie. Oh, and then I know what comes next. Alone for just a second, feel your breath upon my neck, and it's a fever, a meltdown, a backfire. you and I know I can. You're a boom, boom, boomerang, boomerang. So insane, I try to fight it, but I kinda like it. It feels like I'm winning, but I'm losing, 'cause you're spinning like a boom, boom, boomerang, boomerang. I can't throw you away, lifting my God. You break my heart, I get over you, and then you come back around again. Against the wall, I can't resist. Everything I want at my fingertips. Oh, say you're gonna stay. Deep down I know you'll never shoot me straight. You're a boom, boom, boomerang, boomerang. So insane, I try to fight it, but I kinda like it. It feels like I'm winning, but I'm losing, 'cause you're spinning like a boom, boom, boomerang, boomerang. I can't throw you away, lifting my God. You break my heart, I get over you, and then you come back around again. Well, we're back and forth, we're round and round. You bring me up and then you take me down. You're gone some more, but you'll be back someday. Boom, boom, boomerang, boomerang. So insane, I'm trying to find it, but I kinda like it. You're like a boom, boom, boomerang, boomerang. So insane, I try to fight it, but I kinda like it. It feels like I'm winning, but I'm losing, 'cause you're spinning like a boom, boom, boomerang, boomerang. I can't throw you away, lifting my God. You break my heart. You spin me like a boom, boom, boomerang, boomerang. I can't throw you away, lifting my God. You break my heart, I get over you, and then you come back around again.
Question that comes to mind with the voice: when you leave the voice, how much looking after do they give you? Are you back on your own, having to find gigs and promote yourself and things like that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, honestly, yeah, you're kind of sort of. I mean, they give you that platform, right? You know, and you kind of have to use that sort of right away. Like as soon as you get off is when you get like the time. Like you don't get much time. It's like you get that 6-month window to like to start like getting music out there and booking your own gigs and that sort of thing. So yeah, you're kind of on your own unless you have maybe like a manager or like somebody kind of helping you capitalize on that TV sort of, you know, fame that you just kind of had. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I basically, I was a little overwhelmed when I got off too. I was kind of like, oh, what do I do now? You know, I was like, it's like you go from here, ooh, you know, and then you're like, I got to figure it out.
Yeah, I've not got a show to do this week.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see Blake in the studio.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, because you know you're on this like all time like kind of high really, because you're on these massive, you know, these major stages and millions of viewers and getting your makeup done and having them dress you and like all these different things, and then you know the show ends and then you're like, oh wait, what do I do? Do I need this and that, you know? And you're just, and I didn't go to Nashville right away. You know, I went back home with my family in Pennsylvania, and it wasn't until a couple years after is when I met a manager, and he just said, you know, I think it's time for you to relocate to Nashville. So.
But is it lots of dive bars and county fairs, as Ashley McBride would say?
I mean, yes, it is. I mean, you know, you could be singing in like a hotel one minute, like a really nice established hotel, and then next minute you could be singing in some like divey smoky bar or something like that, you know. So it is the truth. I mean, you just wherever's kind of paying and wherever you get the opportunity to play and what's kind of paying your bills is sort of what you kind of have to do in the beginning, you know. But it's funny because, you know, it's like 1 minute you'll be singing for you know, like maybe thousands of people or hundreds, and then one time you might have 3 people in front of you.
So, maybe a sensitive subject, but you were bullied at school because you were in inverted commas, a bit different to some of the other kids. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know, I struggled really terribly in school growing up. Like I had, you know, ADHD and, you know, and a lot of things that people have that's very common, you know. And so I just had trouble kind of keeping up with a lot of like the whole like big classroom. So like I was in classes with like maybe like smaller, like less people and more help. You know, I had 2 teachers instead of 1, which honestly, you know, now that I think of it, I kind of almost had an advantage, which was really nice. But you know, when you're young and and kids kind of see you as like, oh, like, why is she, you know, in that class or what, you know, and that kind of thing. So, you know, I was bullied, you know, really because I was kind of different, and then I was into music and different things that, you know, the other kids really weren't. And so, and I was kind of an easy target, I think, because I was like kind of shy, and I had like a low self-esteem, and I was really hard on myself, you know. And so I think I just kind of let everything get to me. And I think, you know, when people kind of see like, oh, she seems like somebody easily like that I can pick on, you know. And so it was tough. I mean, I had, you know, several, it was always like seemed to be the same kind of people too, you know. And it's like they follow you through your life, and you're like, why can't this person and these people just like leave me alone? You know what I'm saying? And, but, you know, I think honestly, it helped shape, you know, I mean, who I'm now with my music. I've really relied on my music to get through those tough times.
And does that give you a good feeling that you've got to where you are because of your music?
Yes.
And there's an Ashley McBryde song.
I love her.
Yeah, so do we.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of, you know, Girl Going Nowhere.
Yes.
Which is the song.
It gives me chills.
And it's that one where she's effectively turning around and saying, you're still driving some crapped out old car around the city.
Yes.
Look where I am.
That's right. Yeah. And you know, I always wish everybody well. You know, I never wish harm upon anybody. And, you know, I think obviously, you know, when you're a kid, I mean, you never know really what maybe the bully went through. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that I'm like sticking up per se, but, you know, it's just you never know what that person's been through or something. So, I mean, but I think the music was what really got me through. And so I was so thankful that, I mean, I would say, you know, the Lord, or, you know, for gifting me with something that I could take forward and use to kind of maybe help others and tell my story and help shape, you know, maybe somebody else that has been through, you know, bullying and struggles and that kind of thing. So, yeah, so I was super thankful to.
Now, of the songs you've written and performed, and this is always a horrible question for all artists. In fact, Kezia Gill, when I asked her this question a year ago, said, that's like asking me to name my favourite child.
Right.
Which is impossible.
It's hard.
Which is your favourite song or performance that you've done?
You know, I think at this point, Beautiful Pain is probably one of my favorite original songs that I've released so far. And I think it's because it's sort of that gateway of me going into that music that I like, again, that I grew up with, that soulful kind of, you know, bluesy sort of music. Because I've always loved like Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston and you know, all these amazing big vocals. And so I think Beautiful Pain was just something that like I could really like show that emotion and capture that. So I think that's been definitely one of my favorite ones so far that I've been able to put out.
What was I supposed to do? Seeing you out with someone new hit me in the chest, stole my breath, used to be me with you. The way you're looking at her makes me remember what we were and what makes me mad. Can't go back, and what makes it worse? We're beautiful pain, like a rainbow after the storm. I shouldn't hang my head and I shouldn't hang my head in shame. All's not fair in love. It was we lost, ended up. We lost, ended up. Beautiful thing.
Because you've been named the Queen of Country Soul.
Oh, I appreciate that.
So how did you get that label, or how did you really get into the music that you're into now?
You know, I don't really know how I got that label. I don't really know. I'm too modest to really answer that question, but but I'm honored. You know, it's especially when, you know, some of your most like amazing like people like Carrie Underwood and all of these amazing artists like are out there, and you know, that's an honor. But you know, I got into country music really young. I think like when I was maybe 9 or 10, like one of the first songs that I ever learned was like "I Hope You Dance" by Leanne Womack, and I loved Martina McBride. And my aunts and uncles and got me really involved in the country side of music. But my grandfather was such a huge influence on me with music and stuff. So he kind of introduced me to music in the first place, and my uncles were singers, and so as far as like the soul kind of aspect and that came into it, it was just really what was on like the radio and what, you know, I was listening to with my friends, and my parents, you know, brought really introduced like a lot of like different music, rock and soul and art, like, you know, blues and that kind of thing. So I really definitely credit my family for getting me into a lot of the music.
Okay.
that
And you started playing guitar when you were 16?
Yeah, about maybe 14, 15, yeah, about 15 or 16. Yeah, and when I was in high school, I just, you know, I always wanted to pick up an instrument, and you know, I had started off like with piano like when I was young, and then I just didn't keep up with it, which I wish I, you know, would have. But guitar has served, you know, has been really really awesome for me, because that's how I've been able to make my living, you know, and throughout where I grew up and in Nashville, and playing gigs, and you know, I mean, that's kind of how I've been able to make my living with my guitar. So I was glad that I kept with it. But
And coming back to the ADHD, are you doing anything with charities to help move that forward, or to get more talk on the subject done?
Well, so I actually work with my vocal coach, Katie Hendricks, who she writes children's books, and she's actually she does like plays. It's called Timmy Tumbleland. So I do all the musical and like music behind that and everything. And so we're actually going to be doing some like events for anti-bullying and things like that. So they just haven't been announced or anything yet. But yeah, I always stay, anything I could do to like, again, help others and just spread positivity, and just kind of say to somebody like, hey, listen, like, look at me now, and like just give them hope is just what I enjoy. So I mean, anytime I can get involved in a charity that's passionate and to my heart, like, I'm just honored to do that. So yeah.
And one last song that when I close the interview that I'm going to use is "Leave the Light On," because I like that as a song.
Yeah.
Beautiful song. What was that about?
Well, so my previous manager, who actually passed away last year, he was the writer behind that song, and so that was just about kind of being with your, you know, significant other, and just like not needing to go out and to really, like, you know, just to be with each other, and it, I don't know, it's kind of a sexy song, I guess.